Hello to all our peeps out there. It is episode 23 of Parenting Autism, and welcome. I feel like you guys out there are like family now. We're into episode 23, and we all know each other somehow, I guess. Well, you probably know us more than we know you, for sure.
I'm thinking that, and I'm thinking there may be new people that have just found us for the first time, so we want to welcome you as well.
Yeah, we're based in South Florida, and we have a thunderstorm going on right now, so you may hear some boom booms in the background, and typical summer Florida day. So
I actually think that's a perfect segue into today's topic, because today
yes,
we're going to be talking about Bryce's increasing sensitivity with loud noises and sounds, and his anxiety with that, and the recent stream of thunderstorms we've been getting on a daily basis has heightened it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that really is the topic that I wanted to dig deeper into today. I feel like I have been watching his anxiety and his sensitivity to sounds gradually increase. And this week it actually hit a really high point where you recorded a video that we actually shared on the Parenting Autism page, because we try to keep it real. And yes, we have many, many great moments, but we also have those moments where Bryce is affected by something that is pretty much beyond his control, and we have to find ways to try to help him through it.
And sometimes we try all of the tricks that we know, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't.
Sometimes we comply with whatever it is just to get him out of the situation and regroup.
Well, I think when you're driving and he's upset because there's hard rain beating down on the roof of the vehicle and thunder going on, and it's just you because I wasn't there, it's very difficult to console him.
It is.
It's very difficult to...
It was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like different circumstances. If we're in our house, we can deal with it one way. But when you're driving and your child is like getting out of his seat and turning around and begging you to go back to your house, what are you supposed to do? I mean, I guess you find a place to pull over is what you would do to try to console him. But that's not always easy to do if you're in the middle of traffic. So, it's those kind of challenges that are presented to us as parents with children who are affected by things that don't affect the typical person. And I found with this revelation this week, and it really going from 0 to 60, it seemed like I wanted to dig deeper. And so I did find a couple of articles that I have found information that I think is helpful for me to have a better understanding, to share it with you and to share it with our audience that's listening, who may also have children who are affected by sensitivity to certain sounds.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. So we'll just start with the rain. And I focus there first because I feel like that's something that's going on present time. And so
outside the window, yes.
Yeah, literally present time. But I was going to say like almost daily it's coming up. And it's not that Bryce, I don't know how to say this. It's not that he doesn't like rain at all, because he doesn't seem to be affected by it when we're inside our house. Okay, so I don't think it's because of just the rain and just the thunder, because it's been happening today and he didn't even react to it at all. I didn't even mention it. But when we were outside earlier on the road and driving home, he did comment on, look at the sky. There's no dark clouds in the sky today. There's no dark clouds. So when we're outside of the home, I think is where he doesn't feel as safe, because he tends to request to be home if he sees dark clouds. And, that's that's part of the puzzle solving that we have to do, is to get behind the whys. Why is this affecting him the way that it is?
Is the sound too loud? Is it sound like something that he doesn't like? Does it irritate his hearing?
Right, those are all questions. Or is it the actual sound, or is it just the fear that it's dangerous? I don't know. I mean, he uses the word danger a lot because he has the anxiety. What is it? You know, and that's what I'm really trying to find those answers. And, we're in a spot that he can't quite communicate that to us. We're getting a little more answers to our questions, but not these questions.
He's 5 years old, almost 6 now, and a typical child would be able to tell you what it is if they were bothered by something. The thunder is scary, or
it hurts my ears,
or I think it's a monster, or whatever. And so, not only is he almost 6, he's getting tall and he's heavier, and he can get out of things that he couldn't get out of before, like his car seat. And so, like you said, in those situations, we have to be careful, and you have to be quick on your feet to try to
very responsive.
Yeah.
Right. And as I'm listening to you talk, one of the things that I read as I was studying on this topic is they call it fight or flight. And I've heard that before in passing. In fact, when we went to a conference, they were talking about most people, and the kids, they'll have either a natural reaction to fight, which is why some are aggressive when something hits them the wrong way, or if there's a sound that they don't like, or flight, which means they're going to try to run away from it. Bryce, I knew when they described that, was flight and not fight, because he doesn't really have aggressive behaviors. He has flight, and he wants to get away from it. And that's why he was trying to get out of his car seat. That's why he was, begging you to get back to the house and get away from the thunderstorm and the hard rain and, that sort of thing.
But yet in the few days before that, it was raining and we were driving through those puddles, and
it was one day before that was
happening.
It
one day before?
Yes.
And he was enjoying that.
I know.
He enjoyed driving through the puddles, and I even mentioned that in the video. I don't know if it was in the video, but I mentioned it to him when this other outbreak happened, if he wanted to drive through the puddles, and he's like, okay, but then he went right back to the emergency situation that he had to get home. And driving through the puddles did not help at all.
Right. And the day before, when it was raining, we were it was after church and we were at a restaurant. I was actually surprised that he was willing to leave the restaurant to go under the umbrella to the vehicle, because he doesn't like to get wet either. And so, the combination of wetness from the rain combined with the dark clouds, and where he somehow senses that that's dangerous and loud. I think it's a lot of elements here.
Let's clarify getting wet. He likes going in the pool, but
he doesn't like getting wet by rain.
Right,
he doesn't like stepping in a puddle, and he doesn't like water drops falling on him.
There you go.
And why is that? Because he's not controlling it. I feel like if he's getting in a tub, he's choosing to get into that tub and get wet. If he's getting into a pool, his anxiety has decreased on that because he's choosing to get in that pool, and we're not forcing him to get into the pool for a swim lesson.
Tell him about what we figured out with Alexa.
Yeah. So, when I was reading up, and one of the things they said was about giving him some controls over the things that cause him anxiety. So you're thinking, how can we give him control over the rain? Because he actually was crying in that another part of the video that you sent me, that he wanted you to make it rain again. And you're trying to explain to him, I can't make it rain. God makes it rain, But we figured out that night that we have the Alexa where you can ask her to make sounds. And so I thought, well, maybe he can control it with Alexa. So we said, Bryce, tell Alexa to make rain sounds. And so he's like, Alexa, make rain sounds. Yeah. And when she did, he got excited. And he's like,
that he could control
yeah.
it.
And then he's like, Alexa, make thunderstorms. And so he was excited, and he was actually jumping up and down and flapping. And, I think the fact that he could control it, it did make an impression upon him. And we've been sleeping to thunderstorm sounds the past few nights because we want him to feel comfortable and not be scared. And maybe, today we are in the house. I know he's still a little anxious about it because he mentioned the clouds, but today has been much better, which is the first time we've encountered a storm since the whole drama the other day.
One mystery that we've dealt with off and on with him is his requests for something to happen again that he did not have a good experience with.
Right.
So that has been a hard one for us to figure out. It's been a hard one for therapists to figure out. It's just not a regular way of thinking that, you want something that you just got upset over to happen again.
It's almost like this self-punishment thing.
Almost,
I don't
but
know.
The more we talk about that, I wonder if he's exploring the idea, make it happen again, because he wants to see if he can control it or if we can control it. Maybe that's why he was asking me to make it thunder again or rain again, just to see if I could control that and turn it on and off. I don't know.
That one really remains a mystery, and if I ever solve that, I'm going to do a podcast on it to help somebody
write
else.
A book on it.
I'm serious.
That's
because
a tough one.
This has happened since he was 2 or 3 years old. And again, we have shared this with multiple therapists, and they all kind of scratch their head on this one. Like, I really don't know why he does that.
It must not be a common autistic
It must not be.
thing.
And one day I do hope that he's able to explain that to us. But so, that has been good with Alexa, and another recommendation that was made to us when we cried out for help through our Parenting Autism Facebook page was to maybe get a social story for him about rain and thunderstorms, which was a great idea because Bryce does respond well to social stories. And I had someone ask me, what is a social story? Because they're kind of new to this journey. And so I actually shared with her the story that we got for Bryce, because her daughter's also struggling with thunderstorms. And she's younger, she's 2. But still, it's hard to help them understand that it's going to be okay. So a social story is, for those who don't know, it's pictures that have words beneath them that kind of gives them a visual, and it's really designed to help them adjust and prepare them to transition into unfamiliar or situations that they're not comfortable going into. Like, they have them for going to the dentist, they have them for starting school, they have them for getting a haircut. We actually have one for our photography business about getting your picture taken. So if we have someone that is on the autism spectrum that may not know what to expect for getting their picture, we put together a social storybook that we can give to the parents to help prepare them for the experience before they come. They know what to expect. They know that they'll get a prize at the end. If they do what we want them to do, they get their reward at the end. This one for the rain was really good, and I was actually able to find it online instead of creating my own, which was nice. And we put it together and we started reading it with him. Well,
can you put that link in our show notes to rain?
I absolutely will. And it was like less than $3, so it was very, very, very affordable and easy to get. And so I got that. We printed it out. We put it in a notebook binder inside sheet protectors because we already had that. So it was very simple. So it reads out like a book and unfolds like a book. He would read it at first. He would sit and pay attention to it. But when we got to the back pages, right after thunder clouds, he started saying there was fire in the book. he was kind of laughing, but he was still kind of freaking. I'm not sure what he was thinking about that, really. Mm-hmm. But he was somehow associating the danger of fire when we got to that part. And so that's, again, another mystery to add to this that we're just trying to figure out. But that's what we do. We take it step by step. But we have been having, like, he wants this other book that he wants us to read first. But before we will do that one that we know he really wants, because it's the tickle book, then he has to go through the rain book first. And so that's something we've been putting into place this week. We are seeing some results, but, again, this is like a very fresh topic as far as the rainstorms.
We haven't been back out in the vehicle.
We have not. No, because we got home today before the rain came.
Right. So,
we'll see how that goes.
And when he hit that fire part in the book, we stopped and we were trying to figure out, okay, what is on the pages of the book that would indicate fire? But there was nothing there. I think there was a stack of books. And what else was on the page? It was
books, and the little boy was wearing headphones and listening to music.
Okay, while it was raining. So,
but the page before was thunder.
Right.
So it could have been a delay.
We stopped and we said, we started to remind Bryce of where we've seen fire before. And, we went to Camp Cedar during the hurricane, and we had a fire in the fireplace. And then we went to Miss Marilyn and Mr. Gill's house, and they had a fire pit out back, and we roasted marshmallows, so we saw fire there. And I think he thought about that for a little bit, but it still didn't help us get what the association was. We couldn't connect the dots, and he couldn't tell us.
He couldn't. We've been
what was going on there. But
we also had him. You did. You asked Alexa to play the sound of fire. So again, we were kind of controlling it, and she did. She had that ability, and there was like crackling of the fire.
Yeah,
and that paused him in his tracks, and I think he was reflecting on it. And we kept saying, "Remember, you like the sound of fire, and it's safe."
Yeah.
I want to help you.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, say hi.
Daddy, I want to help you.
You want to say, "Help me, please."
Help me, please.
Yeah, there you go. Hi, baby.
Say hi to everybody around the world.
Can you say hi?
Hi, everybody.
That's so good. Okay, buddy. Thanks for coming in and saying hi.
Say bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
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 We need to be working.
It's not working right now.
Okay.
We have to play something else.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. He has to play something else. He's so adorable.
He'll find something.
So anyway, yeah, so again, the sound of fire, we're trying to address these issues as they're coming up, and that seemed to help him as well. But some other things that I found interesting, talking about just sounds in general and how that's been affecting Bryce, is how are ways that we can help him cope with his increasing sensitivity to loud sounds. And before I even go there, we kind of talked about why is this becoming such an issue now? Because it really has not been a major issue, for the past 3 years.
Right.
But we were talking about it, and I do think that it's because he has more awareness now.
Yeah.
And he is a lot more in tune to his surroundings. So he is a lot more in tune to what all is going on around him.
He used to be just spacing out a lot, before we put him on the gluten-free, casein-free diet.
It could be the diet that he's even tuning in that much more. Maybe that's why we're seeing it in the past couple of months, which I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
But it's definitely because he has more awareness. I believe that with all my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I have known from reading, articles and watching videos and, autistic people who are able to share what it's like in their world, because I do understand it's different than ours, that they can hear a lot of sounds and that they're all at the same level.
Hi, buddy.
Hey. Welcome to your game, Daddy.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Have fun.
Oh, no. There's a mosquito.
Uh-oh, Skeeto. Get the Skeeto.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
It's coming.
Okay.
So yeah,
You never know when it was going to
You
pop
never
in.
know. So yeah, I understand that for many of them. And of course, we don't know if this is the case with Bryce yet, but that all the sounds are at the same level, whether it's loud, whether it's quiet. They're hearing multiple sounds at the same time. I also have, in my research, seen that some people with autism, it's actually painful to them, certain sounds. And, several people have said like the sounds of children playing, screaming, crying, or loud, their voices, whatever the decibel is, that pitch can, get them. Like, we know the obvious: fireworks, fire drills, sirens, motorcycles. I mean, those are things that annoy me.
Buzzers at basketball
Buzzers
games.
at basketball. But for Bryce, his main ones that we've seen is clapping. He does not like clapping, so we actually used Alexa that he could ask for clapping. So maybe the same thing, if he can learn to control it a little bit, he might be less affected by it. I don't know. We're grasping at straws, but clapping is a big one for him. And bagpipes, which we learned on 2 occasions in Canada. He does not like the sound of bagpipes at all. And the fire drill, when he had that at school, he tolerated it, but he talked about it later. So I know he didn't like it, but he didn't like do the fight or flight. He didn't try to escape from it.
I think he did end up getting upset over it.
He was
though.
upset about it, but only afterwards, not at present time. Speaking of fire drills, though, what I read, and it's a great idea, and you and I discussed it earlier today, is we should talk to his new teacher because he is starting kindergarten on Monday, and we want to have added to his IEP at school, if they are having a fire drill, that she could give Bryce an advance warning of some type. And if she could also assign a buddy for him, like a safety buddy. So that way, if she knows, obviously the teacher's going to know if it's a drill. If it's a real fire, it is what it is. But if it's a drill, then she would know that she could assign one of the other students to go over to Bryce and help him with whatever it is and their procedures during that drill.
And my point was, do you really want to give him advance notice of that? Because in a real emergency, we want to know how he's going to react, or the teacher should know. So I don't know what's better or what's worse. I mean, we don't want him to get upset, obviously, but if there is an unexpected fire drill, like there's a real fire, you want to know how he's going to react.
Well, I think a fire drill, the whole purpose of that is to teach all the kids how to react, because they don't know what to do. So if they went to school on Monday and they weren't expecting a drill, all those kids are going to freak out. Do you know what I'm saying?
But I'm just
Bryce
saying,
should
with
go,
repetition, they learn how to react.
and Bryce will have the same thing with the drill.
Yeah, but you said that they're going to tell him in advance, and that's a little different.
It is, but I hear what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
I do, but I think knowing Bryce, if you are able to give him advance warning on anything that's going to be loud, it makes let go easier. If you're able to. There's going to be times where he can't, but that's why he'd have the safety buddy.
Yes. I mean, yeah, if there's going to be clapping, yes, I would want to tell him, but that's not as serious.
But we can't control that either. I mean, the clapping. We went into Longhorn last night to pick up my dinner to go.
Yeah.
And when he got to the door, he said, "It's too loud, the clapping."
Was anybody clapping?
No, but you know what he's thinking of? They sing happy birthday in there and clap their hands.
Oh.
So he's associating that when he goes into a restaurant, that it's loud because they come around and they clap their hands singing happy birthday to people. So, it's like he will not forget that. Another hurdle. Exactly. So again, I think, yes, I would like him to have, if he can have a warning, I want him to have a warning, but I understand in life he's not always going to have warnings, and that's the way it goes.
Right.
Like even here at the house, if I am going to put ice out of the refrigerator ice maker into my cup, it's kind of loud, and he doesn't like that because he'll tell me it's too loud, Mommy, and cover his ears, right? So now, to be considerate of him, I do let him know, Bryce, I'm going to put ice in my cup now. Do you want to stay there and cover your ears, or do you want to go in your bedroom? Mm-hmm. And he'll choose which one he wants to do. But I think by me giving him that heads up, because I know that that's a sound that affects him, it's just, it's a kind thing to do. But I don't think me going ahead and pressing it to, help prepare him for when he doesn't know it's coming, it's not necessary. Do you know what I'm saying there? So I do think having that in his IEP, they even said, maybe there could be a signal that the teacher teaches him if she does something that means it's coming. But again, he's in kindergarten. She could just go over to him. If he was in 5th grade, give him a signal or something. But hopefully by that time, he's all acclimated. Yeah. But anyway, this, I'm sharing this too, because if we have parents out there who are listening and never thought of having that on their IEP, which I didn't until today, I think that's a great thing to do and to discuss with your team at the school, because that is something, if your child has sensitivities to sounds, that can affect them. And again, in Bryce's situation, he can be in a situation that is upsetting to him, and he'll tolerate it, and you won't know on that day that it upset him. But the next time you want him to go back to something that is even similar to that setting, he does not want to go. And then you have to figure out why. And then you learn that it was because there was clapping that he's associating with it, or something like that. We've had that happen at church, that we had to do a whole new transition with chapel. He's even mentioned it with All Villages. He did the shows and he was okay with the clapping, but now he doesn't want to go there and hear clapping again. You know what I'm saying? So it's just very, very interesting with him. And again, it's increasing because he just has more awareness. So the more we can learn about this and the more we can prepare him, the better it is. Fireworks, when it was July 4th, we knew that there were going to be fireworks. So we prepped him really well for that. And, I think that worked out well. But I know another one that used to freak him out was the hand dryers in the bathroom. And then he wouldn't even want to go into a bathroom if they had a hand dryer. Even if nobody was using it, he would see it. And you talk about fight or flight, he turns around, he's ready to bolt out the door. And so that's the kind of stuff that concerns me, because there's a safety behind this. If he's not expecting something, he could just if we were outside and we're in Canada again and somebody starts playing the bagpipes and we don't know it, seriously though, he could just turn and run into the street, because he would be so scared at that moment that all he's thinking is, I need to get out of here. And he could run right into traffic. Just like he got right out of his car seat and then he wasn't safe anymore because he wasn't in his car seat, because he was trying to get the heck out because he wanted to get back into the house. So it's the safety of all of this that is also why we've got to, help him work through these and find ways to help him adjust and cope and learn how to cope with these sounds when they happen. And I really don't know what coping mechanisms to use with him at this time, but we were talking about maybe having Teddy Bear or Ollie, his owl, in the truck to maybe bring comfort to him. And then I know that earphones, we just have to remember now that he needs those. So they're in the console. So if there's something sound related, get the earphones to him, but I know what it's like. If you're by yourself, you're so caught up in the, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is going on. You're trying to drive a car.
It's hard to think.
The last thing you're doing is thinking about what else can I do? Where if you have your partner with you, you could be driving and I'd be like, where's the headphones? So
yeah,
we're learning from all this, and it will be good. And if you go out and you can see that there's possibility of rain, now we'll know, pull out the headphones within his reach. So at least he could grab them. And that's, why we share this, is because someone else may not think of that until that time. But I think always keep them on standby is a great idea. And, another thing that I was reading that I thought would be helpful, is if you're going to a place that it's going to be loud, it tends to be a noisy place. If you could possibly, and again, it can't always be controlled, but possibly go when there's lighter traffic. So that's even for restaurants. If we go at different time of day, don't go on Friday night at 7:00 when it's going to be packed. But if you could go for earlier dinner at 4:30 or 5 o'clock when the traffic is lighter. That helps him, because then he's not going to see a bunch of people, and there's less likely a birthday to be celebrated at that time. And I'm being serious on that. So, like when we went to Disney World, we knew that would be crowded and a lot of noises going on there, but we did go on a day where there was lighter traffic because you did your research on that. So I just think, having that awareness and that preparation when you can, and it cannot always be controlled, and we get that. But, these are the type of things that can be shared with other parents who are struggling with this, that, doing the quiet time. And another mom had said she kind of alternates. So like if she has to go to a louder place, of course she preps her child for that, but then she'll go to a quiet place, maybe to the library where she knows it's going to be quiet. If she has to go then someplace loud. So it's not like constant noise. So those are just some ideas there that I had pulled out. You're being quiet because I'm really gabby today, but I guess listening. I'm the one that kind of did a lot of the research on this. And then gradually increasing him to sounds or closer, to proximity. And this really has to do with sound, but also like with just anxiety and helping him work through things. And when I read that, what came to my mind was, do you remember when we had, and this was a little while ago, but we had his friend over. And we also had, at that time, he was in ABA therapy. So we had his BCBA here along with the tech. And we had got a water sprinkler for the backyard. And he was really scared of it. And I don't know if that was sound related. I don't think at that time he was really sensitive to sound. But it was the fear of the water coming at him, right?
Well, also, I think at that time he had a sensitivity to the grass.
That was true. So it was grass on his feet. And then I think just, again, he couldn't control the water coming at him, I think was in there. So we did, it was great because we had his therapist here. So I just remember we started by his friend went in who wasn't afraid of it. And so he watched his friend go in, and then you got closer, and then I got closer. And as he watched everybody else get a little closer, then he would get a little closer. And by the time we were done with that session, so to speak, he was playing in the water and loving it. And that's what it takes. That's a perfect example of Bryce overcoming his anxieties and having to work through them and being given the time to acclimate to it and then actually enjoy it once he gets through those fears.
He is a follower, so we've seen him do a lot of things that he wouldn't normally do by following other kids, such as going higher or further into a playground than he would normally. But when he sees kids his size or smaller or bigger doing that, I think that he gets a level of confidence that he gets, that he thinks he can do that too, which is great. And so, like when we did the kindergarten orientation the other day, he's got a new friend now, and his friend is very talkative, and they had fun playing together while we were talking to the teacher, and we're just hopeful that...
It was very encouraging to see that.
Yeah, and he really likes Bryce, and we're just hoping that his language and his constant talking comes off on Bryce, and that Bryce will talk to him and others.
And actually when we took him to school, he was very... the anxiety was there. We could feel it.
He thought we were going to drop him off.
He did. He kept going, it's not the 12th, because we have told him that he's starting on Monday the 12th. And we've been telling them this for a month because Bryce needs to be prepared for things. And we have the calendar for a visual on the refrigerator. And I actually drew on there the other day, meet teacher on the 8th. And, my little stick figure of a teacher. And so we've got school on the 12th and meet the teacher on the 8th. So when it was time to go, he's like, no school today. It's not the 12th. And we're like, we know it's the 8th. And I took him to the calendar and I'm like, look, it's meet teacher. See, we're going to meet your teacher today. And then I assured him, Mommy and Daddy are not leaving you today. We are not leaving you today. We will be there with you. And so when we got there, the line, I mean, we got there when it first opened thinking it would be light traffic. Wrong. It was very heavy traffic, but it's for all grades, of course. So we get there, and Bryce, I could tell, again, a little nervous about the whole thing, and then he just wanted us to reassure him that we were staying, which we were.
And we gave him a basket of school supplies to take to his classroom, so he had that to concentrate on because he was holding it.
That was a really good idea, because it gave his hands something to do and his mind somewhere to focus.
Right.
And so we got in and we went to his new classroom, and, he wanted to stay near me, so you talked to teacher while we were able to do that. But then that little boy came over and started engaging with him and tried to ask him how old he was, and Bryce couldn't answer. He knows, but he didn't. Bryce just doesn't immediately go back to engaging in a conversation. So I went over to the little boy and said, sometimes it takes Bryce a little bit to respond, but that's okay. Just keep asking him questions and talk to him. I think that's a good thing. And then he said something to Bryce about chasing him, play. And, Bryce heard the word play. He was all in. And then that's when he was fully engaged with him. So it really was encouraging, and we're excited about what's going to be happening here in kindergarten. I'm quite sure we'll be talking about that. But anyway, so the anxiety thing, and that's what I'm saying. Like at first when we go in, he was very, very nervous. But once he got in there and he got acclimated and he met the teacher and he met a friend.
And he knew we weren't leaving.
And he knew we weren't leaving. He was golden, and he was totally fine. And I think he'll be absolutely fine on Monday because he knows it's the 12th and he's prepared to go. And he knows that we leave on that day, and I think he'll be just fine. But the last thing I wanted to talk about that I found in these articles, and I'm going to share links to the 2 articles that I found that were really helpful, was somebody had described 5 types of hearing. And while 3 of them really didn't apply to Bryce, there were 2 of the 5 that did. And the one was the obvious to me, which is called the hypersensitive. And that's where I do believe that if we were to have his hearing tested, he would test positive for this, because I think he is very sensitive to certain frequencies and sounds, the decibel level, the frequency of how high the pitch is. I know, like with our piano, if he's in the room with it, he doesn't like to hear it. Maybe it's just too loud for him, but if he's in the other room, he'll want me to play, but he wants to be in the other room far away from it, further, having that distance. But the one that was really enlightening to me, I never heard of before, but it solved a little mystery that we have had, and it's called misophonia. And what it is, it's an emotional reaction to a certain sound. And the way the author described it was that she said, if a child hears a certain sound, and it can even be a soft sound of somebody chewing food or something that doesn't catch your attention, but they react in almost like an angry way to a certain person that they are emotionally close to, but they won't react that way to other people. Well, in our situation, if I cough, Bryce goes nuts. Like he screams at the top of his lungs, and he'll tell me sometimes, "Mommy, you cough too much, it's dangerous." I don't know if he thinks I'm going to choke, if that sound just truly annoys him, because I'm doing it, but you can cough. Anybody else in this world could cough in his presence, and it would not cause a reaction from him. But if I cough, and I can be 5 rooms removed from him, and if he catches the slightest bit of me coughing, we will hear the scream from him reacting from across the house.
Yeah.
True?
True.
It's crazy. But now I know it's actually something that has a name to it that is, I knew it was tied to his autism, but I did not know it was specifically tied to a type of hearing, and that I don't know if it pains him, like literally gives him physical pain, because when he screams, it kind of hurts my ear in return. Or is it just because, again, I don't know if it's annoying, painful.
What did the article say?
It just said it can make them angry. So I'm actually going to take that word, and I'm going to research it deeper, because I want to know.
Yeah.
I do. I want to know more about that. And if I find anything else that's really pertinent, or if anybody out there that's listening has the same thing going on with their child, just reach out to me and I will share with you what I learned about it, because seriously, this has been something that has been an issue for months, probably a year now.
Yeah, longer than months.
And it's startling. I mean, our poor friends, when we were visiting them in Canada and I had to cough in the car, I would cough and then Bryce would, do his scream. It was awful. And the first time they jumped a couple of times, and then they kind of got used to it. And I cannot always give warnings as to when I'm going to cough. I try to, but I can't.
I think I wanted to make up my own noise so that I could do it after Bryce did his.
You did, and we had a symphony.
And that didn't really help.
It didn't faze him. He doesn't care.
And then I told him it hurt my ears when he did it, and that didn't really seem to help him.
No.
And
yeah.
Whatever
it is. Now it has a name. Now I know what it is, and I am going to do some more research on it. But I wanted to share that today. Because I know that I appreciated learning that, and I hope that there's somebody out there that just went, aha, and they had a moment that they connected with what I just shared. So anyway, that's pretty much the wrap. I know that was a lot of information, but I really wanted to hone in on, sounds and the sensitivity to loud sounds and different sounds and the anxiety and how that all relates.
Coolly. I don't know if the people listening know that we're photographers and that we have a website, www.artigraphsphotography, ARTIGRAPHS, photography.com. And we've been photographers for a long time now. And most recently we got the Autism Friendly Business Training from FAU card here in Florida, and we got a certificate for that. So anybody that is in their area that has a child on the spectrum, they know that we're patient and we know how to help kids be their best in photographs that have trouble. And that goes with all sorts of disabilities too. I mean, this past week we had a young lady here and we did her pictures, and I think you can find her pictures on our Facebook page, at least the sneak peek that we did. That was just a pleasure to do.
It was one of the most rewarding sessions that we have done. It was for her high school senior picture. So even though she's not graduating with her class, her mom really wanted her to be able to have the high school senior photography experience, and she came to us and said, I don't know if this is something that you can do or if you can help her, but she is in a wheelchair and her mom really wanted her to be independent of that. And so, we put our minds together, and she has like a steel rod in her back, and it's kind of curved, and it's hard with her arms and her muscles because she gets a lot of therapy and all. Beautiful smile, beautiful heart. She is fully present, and could talk to us, and, we knew things that she liked, and she knew she was beautiful that day. She had her hair done, her makeup done. It was really awesome. We had them come for a consultation in advance so we could talk to them and put a plan together. But it was just so rewarding, and we were able to take a bean bag to use, and it was just really a beautiful thing that we were able to accomplish and give her mom and her exactly what they were looking for. And so that's what we try to do, and we really do enjoy that. And I was telling you, we used to travel and do family photography like we did it in Alaska. We've done it in Indiana. We photograph families in Tennessee. So maybe as we're starting to do our travels and, we've got this audience that out there, if we're coming to their area, wouldn't it be cool to meet some families and do some sessions on the road?
That's true.
So, if you guys are interested in that, let us know, because as we're planning our trips, we may be able to just work you into our route, and that would be awesome. We would truly love that.
Where we're going next and when we'll be there. So
So anyway,
cool.
We just wanted to share that today, and I hope that, again, this has been helpful to somebody, and we would love for you to reach out to us at any time, and we're just here to help as we can.
Yep. And who knows what the next topic will be in episode 24. So tune in.
Oh, that's a 24 fan.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, Jack Bauer.
All right.
Have a great day.
We'll see you then.
Okay, bye.